There is a brutal truth hiding beneath the surface of modern romance, a mechanism that governs the hearts of the wicked and the weary alike. It is the realization that the people we often label as players, those emotional tourists who visit our lives, take the best parts, and leave before the check comes, are not actually the masters of the game they think they are. They are, in fact, the most easily manipulated creatures on the board. We look at them and see charisma, mystery, and an untouchable allure, but that is a hallucination born of our own insecurities. The reality is that the player is an addict. They are not addicted to love, and they are certainly not addicted to you. They are addicted to the drug of validation and the intoxicating rush of control. They operate on a primitive psychological loop, feeding on the thrill of the chase and the comfort of knowing they have the upper hand. To make a player obsessed with you, to truly make them fall in love to the point of ruin, you do not need to be prettier, richer, or more charming. You simply need to understand the architecture of their addiction and then, with surgical precision, become the dealer who cuts off the supply. The mistake most well-meaning people make is trying to kill a player with kindness. We are taught that love is a meritocracy, that if we just prove our loyalty, demonstrate our value, and endure the mixed signals with a smile, the player will eventually wake up, realize what a gem we are, and commit. This is a fairy tale that leads only to therapy. When you offer consistent love to someone who thrives on inconsistency, you are not healing them, you are boring them. You are becoming the safety net they know will always be there, which gives them the freedom to jump toward someone else. To dismantle a player, you must stop trying to prove your worth and start targeting their nervous system. You must stop playing checkers where you politely wait your turn and start playing 4D chess where you control the board without ever touching a piece. It begins by understanding the concept that birthed the player's entire strategy, intermittent reinforcement. In the mid-20th century, B.F. Skinner discovered something terrifying about the nature of desire within the confines of a Harvard laboratory. He placed rats in a box with a lever. When the lever delivered food every single time it was pressed, the rats pressed it only when they were hungry. They were content, predictable, and bored. But when the lever was rigged to deliver food randomly, sometimes a pellet, sometimes nothing, sometimes a jackpot, the rats went insane. They pressed the lever until their paws bled. They abandoned sleep. They became obsessed. The player uses this exact mechanic on you. They text you back instantly on Tuesday, then vanish until Friday. They treat you like the love of their life one night and a stranger the next. This unpredictability spikes your dopamine levels higher than a stable relationship ever could, chemically hijacking your brain to obsess over them. To win, you must take this weapon out of their hands and turn it against them. You must become the lever that they cannot figure out. This requires a radical shift in your internal posture. You cannot fake this, you must embody it. You have to realize that the player is not a prize to be won, but a subject to be studied. When you adopt the mindset of a scientist rather than a lover, their behavior stops hurting and starts becoming predictable, even laughable. When they pull away, instead of panicking and double texting to bridge the gap, you simply lean back into your own life. You do not ask where they went. You do not demand an explanation. You become a void. This silence is not passive. It is an active, aggressive, psychological maneuver. For a person who relies on their absence creating longing in others, your lack of reaction is a glitch in their matrix. It forces them to wonder if their tactics are failing. Or worse, if you simply haven't noticed they were gone. That split second of doubt is the crack in their armor where the obsession begins to take root. You must master the art of the illusion of control. Machiavelli, the grandfather of strategic manipulation, understood that men are driven by two primary forces, fear and gain. To entrap a player, you must let them believe they are gaining you, only to introduce the subtle, creeping fear that they never actually possessed you at all. This is not about playing hard to get, which is a childish game of pretending not to be interested. This is about being hard to keep. You engage with them warmly. You listen to their stories. You make them feel seen and validated when you are together. You bait the hook with the promise of intimacy and understanding. But the moment you part ways, you retract your energy completely. You do not initiate the next contact. You do not orbit their social media. You exist fully and vividly outside of their perception. This creates a cognitive dissonance in their mind. They remember the warmth of your presence, but they are met with the chill of your absence. Their brain, desperate to reconcile these two versions of you, begins to bridge the gap with fantasy. They start writing stories about you in their head, wondering what you are doing, who you are with, and why you aren't chasing them like everyone else. This is where you deploy the Zeigarnik Effect, a psychological principle stating that the human brain remembers unfinished tasks far better than completed ones. A player is used to closure. They are used to people explicitly defining the relationship, demanding answers, or crying over the ending. These are completed cycles. The player knows exactly where they stand in those scenarios. They are the victor. You must deny them this resolution. You must become a walking cliffhanger. Share a vulnerable piece of yourself, then change the subject abruptly. End a date when it is at its absolute peak, not when it is winding down. Leave conversations before they become stale. By constantly interrupting the flow of satisfaction, you occupy real estate in their mind that they usually reserve for themselves. They will find themselves replaying your last conversation, looking for clues, trying to solve the puzzle of you. They are no longer playing the game to win. They are playing just to figure out the rules, and you are the only one with the rule book. As their investment deepens, you will notice the dynamic shift. The player, once cool and detached, will begin to seek reassurance. They will start to test you, perhaps by trying to make you jealous, or by pulling away again to see if you chase. This is the critical juncture where most people fold. They see the player's vulnerability and think, finally, it's working, I can relax and let them in. Do not do this. This is the moment to double down on your calculation. When they test you with jealousy, you respond with bored indifference. If they mention another prospect, you encourage them. You tell them that person sounds lovely. You strip the power from their triangulation tactics by refusing to compete. A player cannot function in a relationship where they are not the prize. By refusing to compete for them, you inadvertently force them to compete for you. You trigger a reactant response, a psychological pushback against the loss of influence. They feel you slipping through fingers they haven't even closed yet, and their ego screams at them to secure the asset. At this stage, you are no longer dealing with affection. You are dealing with an ego-driven survival instinct. They need to know that they can still affect you. They need to prove that they are still the protagonist of the story. But you have rewritten the script. You have become the one person who doesn't need them to feel whole. This is the ultimate aphrodisiac for the emotionally unavailable. They are drawn to independence like a moth to a flame because it is the one thing they cannot generate within themselves. They mimic independence through detachment, but you embody independence through substance. Your life is full, your boundaries are iron, and your attention is a currency that they have to work overtime to earn. You reward their effort, not their existence. If they plan a date, you are delightful. If they send a low-effort YD text at midnight, you are a ghost. You train them, conditioned response by conditioned response, that the old keys don't open this door. Then comes the final devastating move, the exit without closure. There is a specific window of time when a player is most vulnerable. It is right when they believe they have finally figured you out and secured your attention. They begin to relax. They let their guard down. They start planning a future, or at least the next few months with you in the picture, This is when you walk away. You do not do it with a scream, a fight, or a tear-stained letter explaining how they hurt you. You do not give them the satisfaction of knowing they damaged you, because if they damaged you, they still have power over you. You leave with the cool, calm detachments of someone who simply found something better to do with their time. You disappear. You do not block them, because blocking is a reaction. You simply stop engaging. You let their texts pile up. You let the calls go to voicemail. You let the silence stretch out until it becomes deafening. This triggers the deepest psychological wound a player has, the fear of irrelevance. They can handle being hated. Hate is still passion. They cannot handle being forgotten. By denying them a dramatic ending, you trap them in a loop of what if. They will never know why you left. They will never know if you loved them. They will never know if they were ever really in control. This lack of resolution acts like a mental splinter that they cannot dig out. They will compare every subsequent partner to you, and every partner will fall short because you are the only one who didn't surrender to their script. The beauty of this strategy is that it requires you to actually become the person you are pretending to be. You cannot fake true detachment forever. To pull this off, you actually have to prioritize your own life, your own goals, and your own sanity above their validation. You have to reach a point where you genuinely do not care if they come back or not. And ironically, that genuine lack of need is the most magnetic force in the universe. The player falls in love with you not because you played a game, but because you won the game by refusing to play it on their terms. You held up a mirror to their emptiness by showing them what fullness looks like. In the aftermath, they will likely return. They always do. They will come back with apologies, with grand gestures, with promises of change. They will try to restart the cycle, hoping to get that hit of dopamine that comes from re-securing a lost prize. But by then, if you have done this correctly, you will look at them and feel nothing. You will see the strings, the levers, and the frantic little rat in the box pressing the button for a pellet that isn't coming. You will realize that the obsession wasn't about love. It was about power. And because you kept your power, you are the only one who walks away free. You leave them with the ghost of you, a perfect, unresolved memory that will haunt the corridors of their ego for years. They will tell stories about the one that got away, the one they couldn't break, the one who saw through the charm and walked out the door without looking back. You win not by destroying them, but by outgrowing the need to play with them at all. You leave them playing solitaire with a deck of cards you set on fire, while you go out to live a real, tangible life. That is the ultimate revenge. That is the ultimate seduction, and that is how you beat the player at their own game.